There's a lot of celebrities out there, so it makes sense a few would have crossed paths in the past, especially in college. What stars knew each other back in the day? What famous actor knew Mike Pence? Keep watching to find out. It's no secret that Frozen star Kristen Bell loves musical theater. Years before she was a teen detective in Veronica Mars, Bell played the spunky Becky Thatcher on Broadway in a production of The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, and she's been singing ever since. In the early 2010s, there was no bigger musical theater story in pop culture than the dominance of Glee, so it's only natural that Bell would have been a massive Gleek. She once told Ross Matthews at a Sundance event that she likes to play Glee songs during photo shoots. She said, "It's the only thing to jam to, and everyone laughed at me, and I'm like, really? Really? Put the songs on. Try not to shake your hips." However, it was more than her love of theater that drew her to the show. She told Us Weekly, "I actually went to college with Maddie Morrison. We actually dated very briefly, so I'll have to say maybe Matt Morrison is my favorite part of Glee for various reasons." The two met at NYU's Tisch School for the Arts. Bell left school to be on Broadway, and Morrison was still a student when he joined a parody boy band called Fresh Step. As Riverdale fans know, Jughead romances Betty, while her best friend Veronica gets with Jughead's BFF, Archie. Despite all the spooky relationship drama on the show, Jughead and Veronica haven't spent much time together, just the two of them. Turns out, the actors have a past behind-the-scenes connection though, even if it's more distant than Camila Mendes, who plays Veronica, would have liked. Mendes went to NYU at the same time as Cole Sprouse and his twin brother Dylan. The two were already uber famous from their years spent at the Tipton Hotel on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and a pre-fame Mendes kept an eye out for the stars around campus. She told Office magazine, "I saw Cole around, and there was a time when we had class in the same building, so I would always see him outside. He was a weirdo." She explained that she occasionally talked to Dylan at parties, but that Cole was the shy twin, so they never really spoke much. She added, "Cole always laughs when I tell him that because I remember meeting him on certain occasions and he doesn't. I'm always like, fine, whatever. Sorry I'm not a child star."
Does he not know who I am?
Even still, they've been close ever since their Riverdale audition, about which Mendes told Nylon, "We bonded over the fact that we both sweat a lot before auditions." Sounds like this friendship was destined to be. A recording of John Mulaney and Nick Kroll's Broadway show, Oh, Hello on Broadway, was released on Netflix in 2017, but the quirky play was far from the first time the pair have worked together. In fact, they met long before Mulaney appeared on the Nick Kroll Show or Big Mouth, while both were students at Georgetown University. Mulaney told CBS News, "I was doing improv comedy in an improv group called the Georgetown Players Improv Group. The name of the director of the group? Nick Kroll, who was a senior that cast Mulaney after seeing his audition." Kroll told NPR, "I just immediately was like, wow, this kid is funny." The encounter meant a lot to John Mulaney even years later. "Had I not met Nick that day, my life really would have been a different path." Both comedians view that day as an influential one in their later career paths. Kroll said, "We just clicked and immediately enjoyed working together. They have gone on to collaborate many times, and their friendship is so well known that the Bronx Zoo named two of its residents after the pair."
There are two hissing cockroaches at the Bronx Zoo named Nick Kroll and John Mulaney.
In 2017, Glenn Close delivered a tearful speech to the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, describing her memories on the set of The World According to Garp, recounting the friendship between late actors Robin Williams and Christopher Reeve. She said that Reeve would fly into set on Friday nights, quote, "scoop Robin up and take him away for the weekend. Their friendship, their connection is the stuff of legend. It not only endured, but became a life-giving force sustaining them both. I am convinced that if Chris were still with us, Robin would be too." The Superman and Mrs. Doubtfire actors initially met when they were roommates at Juilliard, both studying acting. In his memoir, Still Me, Reeve wrote that Williams was the first person he met at school. He remembered, "I'd never seen so much energy contained in one person. He was like an untied balloon that had been inflated and immediately released. There was never a moment when he wasn't doing voices, imitating teachers, and making our faces ache from laughing at his antics." Williams shared his own favorite memory of Reeve at school during a Reddit AMA, writing, "Reeve was literally feeding me because I don't think I literally had money for food or my student loan hadn't come in yet, and he would share his food with me." Tommy Lee Jones said at the Democratic National Convention in 2000,
"Al Gore has been one of my closest friends since the day we met on the first day of college 35 years ago."
This was during the speech that served as Gore's official nomination for the presidency. Jones added, "He is a good, caring, loving man." The two met at Harvard and quickly became inseparable. They initially lived across the hall and then moved in together, according to the Harvard Crimson. A friend recalled to the Washington Post, There was this funny little dynamic going, as if Tommy Lee was the occasion for Al to assert his Southern roots. At the DNC, Jones regaled the crowd with tales of what Gore was like to live with. He explained,
"We shot pool, and we watched Star Trek when maybe we should have been studying for exams."
He added that one year they had Thanksgiving in their dorm, just the two of them, roasting a turkey in the fireplace of their room. He joked, "I know from Tipper that has been some of the most ambitious cooking that Albert has done since then." For his part, Gore told the Harvard Crimson in a statement that Jones is a great guy and a wonderful lifelong friend. Gore would ultimately lose the presidency to George W. Bush, never moving into the Oval Office. He has that in common with his actor friend, who has never played a president on screen. It's normal for friends from college to drift apart after graduation. Somewhat less common, though, is having your college friend marry into the family of one of the most controversial presidents in American history. It's even worse if that friend were to become a crucial part of crafting the policies that made said president so divisive. Well, that's what happened to Natalie Portman. Man, would we love to get a peek at the famous Harvard alum group chats that must have been going around during the Trump administration. Natalie Portman told Stephen Colbert about her old pal Jared Kushner, husband of Ivanka Trump. She said, "We were friendly. They were close enough college pals that Natalie attended Jared and Ivanka's wedding in 2009. The Kushners went to Natalie Portman's own 2012 wedding to Benjamin Millepied. Nowadays, though, they aren't exactly best friends." After hesitantly agreeing with what Stephen Colbert heard, that Kushner wasn't that great of a student, Portman continued, "What can I say on TV? I don't know. Unfortunately, there's not a lot funny to say about someone you were friends with becoming a supervillain, so, it's not funny."
I would watch that movie, though.
The star didn't hold back, telling Colbert, Kushner said in some interview that the friends he's lost because of politics, it's like exfoliating. Colbert joked that Portman is now just a dead skin cell to Kushner, and she emphatically confirmed, saying, quote, "proudly." Stanley Tucci won a Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Miniseries or a Motion Picture Made for Television, recognizing his role in the HBO film Winchell. And who presented the award? Legendary actor Alfre Woodard and Pulp Fiction star Ving Rhames, who was presenting because he had won the previous year. Rhames broke out into a grin when the winning name was announced. After hugging his friend, he told the audience, "We went to college together, and he gave me the name Ving. My real name is Irving." The two were roommates in college, having lived together while they studied drama at the State University of New York's Conservatory of Theater Arts in Purchase, via Daily Beast. They asked Tucci if he gets royalties anytime someone uses the nickname Ving, and he joked, "I should. It's an outrage." Their alma mater seems proud of these former students. In 2021, the college tweeted a link to an article about their relationship, which they called iconic. 911 star Angela Bassett and American Crime Story actor Courtney B. Vance have one of the strongest relationships in Hollywood, having been married since 1997. They have 2 kids together and even starred opposite one another in Melvin Van Peebles' 1995 film Panther. While their romantic relationship dates back decades, the two have known each other even longer, though they didn't actually get together for a while. Vance told Wendy Williams that the duo first met at the Yale School of Drama, long before they were romantic. He said, "She was leaving as I was coming in. She was helping me, showing me around. She was with somebody at the time, and I was with somebody at the time. We were friends for 13 years. It wasn't until years later that they tried a romantic relationship, but even that got off to a rocky start."
We went on a date and it wasn't good.
Williams pressed him for details, and he explained, "We were friends, and the transition to lovers is tricky. The first date was tricky." Bassett, on the other hand, seems to have had her eye on Vance for a bit longer. On the Oprah Winfrey Show, she described her first memories of the man who would later become her husband. She said, "I do most definitely remember him. He was tallish, dark, skinny, and just alluring." Actor Woody Harrelson has lived a life of, quote, extreme hedonism, as he told Jimmy Kimmel, which the actor said required him to put religion on hold. In his younger days, however, Harrelson attended Hanover College in Indiana on a Presbyterian scholarship, and he thought he might someday like to be a minister. Future Vice President Mike Pence attended Hanover at the same time, and the two knew one another. Harrelson told Kimmel, "I actually quite liked him. I thought he was a pretty good guy. He's very religious, very committed." Harrelson expanded on their relationship when he appeared on WTF with Marc Maron. He said, "I did a sermon when I was at Hanover College, and in fact, this is kind of bizarre, but Mike Pence was 2 years older at the same school. He was the guy who kind of led me through it, mentored me through it." Surprised, Maron asked if Pence was the same at the time as the host viewed him years later. Harrelson responded, "No, not at all. We weren't buddies or anything, but he was very religious." He explained that Pence was head of the student club for those who might be interested in the ministry. Harrelson said on Jimmy Kimmel Live, "Seeing as how I'm not quite in that ballpark Brooke now, I don't know how we'd get along.
I think he's still quite religious.
Owen Wilson has starred in a number of films directed by Wes Anderson, including The Grand Budapest Hotel and The Royal Tenenbaums. However, their relationship stretches back even longer than Bottle Rocket, their first film. The twosome met while they were students at the University of Texas at Austin. They took playwriting classes together and ultimately became roommates because they got along so well. Texas Monthly asked them about their early collaborations in those days, and Anderson joked, "I wrote a term paper for Owen, although that wasn't exactly a collaborative effort. They wound up writing Bottle Rocket together, in part inspired by a feud they were having with their landlord." Looking back at those early nuggets of friendship, Wilson can't believe how far they've come. In 2021, he told IndieWire, "I'll probably see Wes here in Cannes, and to think about us being roommates in Austin, Texas, at University of Texas, meeting in playwriting class, it just seems wild that now we're attending the Cannes Film Festival together." Angela Bassett and Courtney B. Vance weren't the only future celebs who met because one showed the other around Yale. Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke were first introduced to each other as co-stars. On Showtime's Desus and Mero, Nyong'o explained that she encountered Duke when he was still a prospective student in New Haven, Connecticut, for his callback audition at the School of Drama. She said, "I was assigned to Winston to show him around campus." Duke told Esquire, "She and I became really close because we shared that immigrant experience. We shared the idea of having really big dreams, knowing that we'd left our own country." Their friendship was one of destiny on several levels. In addition to leading the Jordan Peele horror movie as spouses, Nyong'o and Duke also co-starred in Marvel's Black Panther. The young friends even went and saw the original The Avengers team up together while in New Haven, Nyong'o revealed on Desus and Mero. She said, "We were dreaming together about, oh, wouldn't it be nice to be in one of those?" Duke said to Esquire, "We would always tell ourselves that they're going to put a black Marvel superhero on screen someday, but we could never tell who."
Wakanda forever!
Turns out the missing ingredient they couldn't visualize was each other. While at Cambridge University, young acting student Dan Stevens met a fellow thespian named Rebecca Hall when they were cast opposite one another in a production of Macbeth. Rebecca's father is Peter Hall, legendary theater director and founder of the Royal Shakespeare Company. He was so impressed by Dan Stevens' performance that he cast him as Orlando in As You Like It, alongside his daughter as Rosalind. The production received rave reviews, and the rest of their friendship is history. After Cambridge, they remained close. Stevens told Daily Mail, "Rebecca and I lived together, but never romantically. The two have stayed friends as both of their careers have taken off." Hall told Film Inquiry, "I'm godmother to his kid, and he used to live down the road from us in Brooklyn." Stevens went on to star in Downton Abbey, while Hall worked steadily as an actor and moved into directing in 2021 with the release of her first film, Passing. When they starred in the film Permission together, Stevens told Collider that knowing one another for so long helped them have, quote, "an instant shorthand on set." He said, "I got a kick out of working with Rebecca, feeling that creative electricity was really lovely." Hall agreed, commenting, "I don't have anything salacious to say about it because it's fun. We are so lucky to get to work with our friends and to be so lucky as to have friends that are really talented." Brooke Shields' memoir, There Was a Little Girl, is a touching account of her lifelong relationship with her controversial mother, Terry. She was roundly criticized in the press for allowing her daughter to model and act at a young age. In the book, Shields includes a section about her college boyfriend, a Princeton football star by the name of Dean Cain. She wrote, "We were instantly crazy about each other. We were a golden couple and everybody loved us together." She said that they shared the same sense of humor and that Cain, who would grow up to be Superman in Lois and Clark, was not intimidated by the fact that she was already famous. She also describes the night she lost her virginity to Cain, writing that the experience was beautiful and what you would wish for your daughter. Unfortunately, she was racked with guilt and shame afterwards, which led to the beginning of the end for their relationship. Cain confirmed to Meredith Vieira that Shields asked him for permission to write about the experience in her book. He shared, "We're still great friends. What I said to her was, I trust you implicitly, and anything you're gonna write I'm sure is gonna be honest and straightforward." He also said that they were in love, and they were college sweethearts, and that he isn't ashamed of anything that happened. So he told her, quote, "right away." When Busy Phillips filled in for Ryan Seacrest as host of Live with Kelly and Ryan, the guest for the show was Colin Hanks. Before Hanks came out on set, Phillips revealed that he was her college boyfriend and that they dated when they were both students at Loyola Marymount University. She said, "We dated for a long time, actually.
We were young! We were babies!"
They even attended the red carpet premieres of Hank's father's movies Toy Story 2 and The Green Mile together. Deflating any awkward tension, Phillips explained to an awestruck Kelly Ripa that it was totally cool they had happened to be scheduled on the same show. He said that they're on great terms and their families go on vacations together. Hanks noted on the talk show that he's grateful for their long-lasting friendship, revealing that they were cast on their first TV shows the same exact week. He said, "We were able to go through all of these really special moments in young actors' lives together, and now we also get to do, morning school drop-off together." The following year, though, busy Phillips joked about having second thoughts about the friendship on Twitter. She tweeted a link to an article titled, "If your ex wants to stay friends, he might be a psychopath," tagging Hanks in the tweet and captioning it with 3 simple shrugging emojis. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite celebrities are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.